Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Georgiana with Expressions Craft Studio, and today we're going to work with our Cricut and we're going to make this little card front here. Now this was something I designed in Design Space. There are some out there, although the couple that I found didn't, or the one that I found didn't cut quite right. So I do have one from Melody Lane's group that I have a membership to that does cut well, but I wanted to try it with these half circles. So we are going to cut these out. I'm going to do 3 of them today because Mother's Day is coming up, and I just put that white piece of paper there behind it to kind of help minimize the glare. This is a paper pad from DCWV called Midnight Berry, and it is from 2013, so it's been around. I've had it for a while, and I've decided to start using it, and it's got a lot of beautiful papers in it, as you can see, all foiled and just beautiful rich colors. So the 3 sheets I've chosen are this border sheet here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it this way and kind of cut down here. Let's see if I can get that up there where you can see it. Kind of cut down here in this area. That way you get a little bit of each stripe. And I think that'll look nice. And the back of these is all kind of an off-white. The second one I'm going to do is this one. I thought this would be lovely for Mother's Day. And again, I'll just cut it out of the corner, and then when you flip it over, it'll have the white behind it. And the third one is this one. And once again, if we're working down here on this corner, you'll get to see this beautiful purple foiled flower. Now this is it's kind of a I guess gray background, so probably maybe not appropriate for Mother's Day, but maybe for an anniversary or a birthday. I don't know. We'll see, or even a get well card, but I just thought it would be pretty. So those are the 3 we're going to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my machine and start cutting, and I don't think you want to see all of that, so I'll come back once I've cut everything out. We'll fold our flaps on at least one of them so you can see how that's done. Then we'll put the cards together and we'll take a peek at the finished project. Alright, so we've got our 3 card fronts cut out, and we're going to start folding them. So I think I'll start with this one here, and you can start at the top or the bottom, but you will notice, I think you can see it, as you fold them over, this bottom one will hang over. You're going to trim that off and save this because you're going to need it up here. So you're just going to keep gently folding them over. And I'm going to go ahead and fold them all first, and then I'll tuck them in. Now you can certainly use this file. It will be free. You can find the link in on my Facebook page. This link, you certainly can edit it to change the sizing to a different card, but you might want to run a test sample first because that might make the alignment off a little bit. So now you're going to flip this up, this tab here, and just slide that under. And you're going to do this with all of them. Oops. And there you've got your lattice. Isn't that pretty? So now what you want to do is, I didn't do the last one. I'm going to do the last one. Now I'm going to go ahead and glue these down because I find I get a closer cut when I do that first before I cut. And it's just a little bitty area here. I'm going to fold that over, and then I'm just going to press it down. And then I'm going to burnish it to try to get it to stay down because it is kind of a slick paper with foil on it, so that glue needs a little bit of extra help to stick and dry. Okay, so now you can see where it hangs over the back. So we're just going to take, and I'm going to use my big scissors for that, and I use the edge of my card and I'm just going to follow that edge and trim off that half circle. There you go. So now this piece will slide up under here and you'll glue it to the top. So we'll do that real quick. And then you have your card front essentially done. Now you can certainly add to it. You can add a sentiment or whatever you like. Just trying to make sure I get that straight across. Feels pretty good. Just going to hold it in place with one finger and then burnish it with the other hand. And let's find something to stick behind it so it really shows up. So there you go. Now I will probably, I could make the card white, the card base white, but the backing is a little bit off-white. So I think I'll use a cream colored cardstock for this. I haven't decided what I'll use on these two yet, but I'm going to go ahead and fold these over, and then we'll come back and figure out how we're going to put these together. So I'm going to pause the video. If you need to rewatch this, just rewind it so you can see again how I did it. It's actually relatively simple, and it just looks complicated. Look how pretty it looks. So I'm going to try to lift it up here a little bit closer so you can see. So yeah, all right, so let's get these other ones done. All right, so I wanted to show you one more thing, or just point out one more thing before I finish putting the finished cards together. You can adjust the design in Design Space to put the lattice cuts anywhere on the card that you want, but these I cut them all out the same way. However, you can flip them. This one would work with the lattice across the top or on either side. It's not so directional that you can't do that. The same with this one. You can flip it either way. Now that one does look a little, well, not necessarily. Lace could go either way. So that one's also, adjustable. This one's a little less, I feel like, just because of the way the flower is, but you could certainly use these two options. So I got a little bit of tape there. This way I don't feel like it works so much, but that doesn't mean you couldn't put a sentiment down here and essentially make that work as well. So you have options. You're not limited to just designing your final card the way the machine cuts it out. So I just wanted to point that out. Alright, so I've gone ahead and glued these two together, and I'm getting ready to glue this one down, but I wanted to show you something. But first I realized I made a mistake on all three of them, the same mistake on all three of them. When I glued this piece up here down, I should have flipped it over. You should see the back side. And you eagle eye viewers probably caught that, but I didn't. So the first one on every one of them, I did it wrong. I should have flipped it over the other way, but they're glued down now. They're not coming up, so I did catch it. I just didn't catch it in time. So please don't make that mistake. The other thing I wanted to show you, and I don't know how well that's going to show up, but you can barely see underneath a little bit of the circle, the woven part behind it. So if that bothers you, you have two options. You can either go into the file and adjust some stuff, but then you're going to spend time, testing it out. Or you can just take a little snip off the bottom of each one of those half circles, and you'll never see it, and neither will the person who receives the card. Just a little bitty snip off of each one, and then you can no longer see those poking through. So we're going to glue this one down. I'm going to vacuum up my scraps here. And thank you, Miss Bonnie, for that lovely tool. It comes in very handy here. So this one I'm going to glue. I feel like I need to trim that, but I think it'll be okay. It's not perfect. It's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm going to just start over here on the cut edge, or the edges that have all of the lattice cuts, and I'm just going to add my glue all the way down, and I'm going to kind of come around up the side a little bit, and I'm going to put some on these tabs too. And then we're going to center that up and glue it down. Now you want to be careful when you're burnishing here, because you don't want to pull any of that off of there. It could rip, your little cuts could rip if you're not careful. Oh, I didn't get that straight. Is it too late? No, don't be too late. It's a little late. Okay, come on. There we go. I don't think that messed it up too bad. Again, I'm using the length of my bone folder and just gently going back and forth in small strokes to help burnish that glue down and those folds and get everything adhered. And I'm probably going to be able to use a little bit more glue down here along the bottom. Okay, so some of the flaps didn't stick, and that's okay. If that bothers you, you can glue them down. It's kind of stuck, just not completely. Now it is glued down toward this part, it just, the top of the flap didn't glue. So again, if that bothers you, well, this one didn't, then you can just add some glue. And glue them individually, which is probably the best way to go anyway. Just that way you make sure you get everything nice and as flat as can be. And again, I'm just burnishing gently, not to mess up any of my cuts or scores. Alright, so that half is glued down. So now we need to glue this side down. And it won't take as much precision. Now you can glue the whole thing at once if you want, but I honestly find that this method works better for me. But to each his own. That way I don't have to make sure it's perfectly lined up. I mean, I do want it perfectly lined up, but it's easier if I don't have the entire back of the card front glue with glue on it. Oh, I'm having a heck of a day with my words. You should have heard me at the post office today. Had that poor lady laughing. Okay, so all that's left to do is add our sentiment on the inside, or message on the inside, and a sentiment on the outside if you want. Personally, I think most of these look good enough. I wouldn't add one. I might on this one because I said I was going to use a cream background, but then I found this very pale green. I don't know what color it is. I'm sure it's basil, but it didn't have any name or numbers on it. But it's like some of their textured cardstock, so I could be wrong. It might be somebody else, but it looks like basil cardstock to me, but it didn't have any names on it, so I don't know what the color is. So anyway, here you have some options. So I thought this one could go, like this, as a landscape with the fold at the top, but you could still do it this way with the portrait with the fold on the left. And then you could put maybe your little sentiment or something up here so you could kind of hide my mistake. This one I designed to stand up as a portrait, but you could do it this way if you wanted to. And again, you could put another flower or your sentiment down here to cover my mistake. You're noticing a theme there. And then this one can go like this, the traditional fold card with the fold on the left in a portrait, or you could even flip it this way. I don't know if I like it better with the stripes going up and down or side to side. I think I prefer side to side. But you know, you have options. So these are 3 cards from the same card pack. Now you can't buy this pack anymore, and maybe that's unfair of me to use it, but I want to use my stash up. And the whole point of this is just to show you that, you know, you should go through your stash and you should find, you know, use it up. That's why you bought it. I saved this for so long because I thought it was so pretty. Now I look at it when I go through the pack and I'm like, ooh, that's all really bright. But to use it in something like this where it's a smaller dose of bright isn't so bad. So use up your stash, folks, and then, you know, you can continue embellishing this however you like. I think a nice happy Mother's Day with a nice round or roundish, maybe oval shape here with some flowers or leaves sticking out behind it would be nice. This one, you could do anything with that, I mean, honestly, and the same with this one. So it's quick, easy. The Cricut does all the work, and the only thing you have to remember to do is make sure that you flip this top piece over before you glue it down. So, you know, live and learn. I did it right on the first ones. I just did it wrong on the ones that I wanted to show you. So anyway, thanks for joining me, guys. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. If you want this free file, you can find the link for it in my Facebook group or the Facebook page. There's both. I'll put it on both. And I can't think of anything else. So until next time, guys, happy crafting.